All right, guys, welcome back. Final score: Imperial Knights 84, Grey Knights 82.
Super close.
Yes, and considering the fact that Grey Knights have zero really answers for those Imperial Knights, I blew up quite a bit of them.
Yeah, I was really surprised how much you managed to kill there. I had just one big knight, one crusader, and one Helverin. They were both at full wounds, but you still had comparable number of points on the table. You had the Land Raider, although he only had one wound left.
Hey,
it's
wound's
still
a wound. He's alive.
Still alive. And what was it, 5 Terminators on the table? So you still had a fair amount on there as well. I knew I was going to have trouble killing, so I actually did pretty well considering. Just because, and I said it in the bat rep a couple times, when you're in cover and your whole entire army gets a 2-up save, and most of my shooting is AP1, some AP2, yeah, it's not going to get through. You're going to get 2-up saves all the time, especially because you basically have Armor of Contempt with True Silver Armor.
Yep.
It lets you buff that up, and you use that pretty well to keep that Land Raider alive.
Yeah, I was. It was definitely scared that he was going to die. And I think he bought. I really do feel like at the end of this, and we'll just go over this real quickly because I know you want to get home, and there's a lot to talk about, but there's a lot more to think about. Land Raider. The question was asked that I asked before the game is the Land Raider going to be viable with Knights in that? I think yes. I think yes on the simple fact that he survived. Now, going into a Castellan, that might be a little bit different, but he still survived. He survived really well. Like you said, Armor of Contempt and the cover just made it he just didn't want to die.
Yeah. I wanted him to die. He did not die.
It was a little sad, though, with like when we started looking at some of the stats for it, the Strength 12 versus the Toughness 12 made it kind of rough. But when I was able to look at those armigers, he was able to pick them up really well. So it makes me think, okay, when he can hunt an armiger, hunt an armiger.
Yeah.
The Dreadnought, on the other hand, he's going back on the shelf.
Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot this game. He got picked up pretty quick.
No, he doesn't work with the synergies of my army.
Yeah.
And that's kind of thing is like I need to sit down and look at it and kind of see what I might want to tweak. I am running double interceptor, double strike. I think one of those I might drop down to a single. I think but I don't know which one. What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
It's tough because the interceptors get to move.
These Grey Knights all look the same to me.
Well, the interceptors got to move quicker. They got the 12-inch.
Yeah. Obviously, that mobility is huge, and their ability to shoot and run away is a big deal too. A lot of times, people think of using that as a defensive thing to shoot and then run behind cover, but you use it a couple of times to shoot and then get onto an objective, or shoot and then move block one of my close combat archers. So you use it in a lot of different ways. I think the utility of the interceptors is
there's a part of me that's even thinking about trying to drop the strike, drop the Dreadnought, and maybe another squad of Terminators.
Yeah,
those
either way, I mean,
they're awesome.
They're so tough. Yeah,
they did awesome. Those Terminators and they just walked across the field for most of the game. Once they got in position, and I mean, granted, now the one thing is you didn't shoot at them because they could bounce away. If they couldn't have bounced away, you might have shot more random stray shots at them, and I might have lost more in there. But man, Turbies are tough. And 5-man, like the 5-man does so much work.
Well, especially with the Apothecary, I'd scrape one off a turn, or one, maybe 2, and then you bring one back. And by the end of the game, I killed 3 or 4 of them, but there were still 5 on the table.
Yep. Purifiers, this was not their game. This is not their matchup.
Yeah, it's not the matchup. It doesn't mean you take them out of the list. But still, just the volume of shots you put through, and the fact that the Knights are 3-up, the Imperial Knights are 3-up armor. So eventually some of those little shots get through. I mean, you picked off a few wounds here and there, and just enough to make a difference. So the volume of fire you put out, even though you don't have much AP other than the lascans and the close combat on the Nemesis Dreadnought, you're still able to scrape some wounds off. And like I said, you did a ton of damage, more than I thought you would.
Yeah, well, so as far as your Imperial Knights, now you're not planning on taking these right now. You got some work going on the Death Watch. They're on the table.
Yeah, I'm planning to take the Death Watch to the GT Arch City at the end of the month. This is the first time I've played Imperial Knights in 10th edition, or didn't even play them in 9th edition either. So this is the first time I've played them in a while. They're fun. I like the big stompy robots. But But
Do you think you'd run them? Do you want to run them again?
yeah, no, I think they're a good competitive list. Especially, I mean, it was a close game, but I was making a lot of mistakes and doing things wrong and not taking advantage of my strats and forgetting about my feel no pains and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
there were definitely ways where I could have played it better. Again, this is the first time playing in 10th edition. You've played how many games of the Grey Knights now?
2.
Okay, so you have like 100% more
But I'm
experience
sitting.
than me.
That's true. That's true. But I've been sitting there like eat, sleep, drinking Grey Knights, like
Yeah,
looking through every little rule. Like I almost have everything down and memorized.
Mhm.
Like for our game, I was able to go through and get most of the data sheets right, most of the rules right. And that's what happens when you're up till 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep.
Right.
And just scanning through stuff and scanning through stuff.
And I hadn't studied anything at all, but I've only got 4 data sheets in the whole army, so I can
There you
look
go.
them up pretty quick on
There
the
you
app.
go. So wrap things up. We'll make this one kind of quick for everything because I think as we get, there's a lot to think about right now, and I don't like to be able to say right away like, oh, this was that, this happened, these things happened, is really tough in this style of matchup because of you playing Imperial Knights. It means, like we said, the Purifiers didn't do anything. The Land Raider was tough, not quite that damaging. Excuse me. It's late and we're both getting exhausted. These are all major factors. But it's really tough that it's going to take I need to sit down and look at some stuff for a little bit. And the biggest thing is I feel like, okay, so for my list, most of it's staying in there. The Dreadnought is gone. The Strike Interceptor combo, I'm up for negotiations. So guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. What is something that I might enjoy with that? With that combination. I do have quite a bit of Grey Knights, and I have other things I can pull from and try to get things in there. And we do have Imperial Agents. I could look into those, but I'm kind of curious on what you guys think. Where that small extra voice. Should I keep the Interceptor? Should I go double strike? Should I go single strike? I'm kind of starting to get to that point right now that I'm not really 100% sure, and I don't only have till the 16th before I got to submit this list. So it's time to box up those Purifiers, get them back up on the table, and finish getting them painted. And you got some work to do too, my friend.
Yeah, I got a few Terminators I got to paint for my Death Watch. So
all in all, this was an awesome game. That was a really awesome game. We both ended with 2 units, and both were high value units too.
I think we're getting more of the practice into the tactical idea of things where it can change. You have to really build your list into it because it seems like that's the way to go for most part. You can obviously choose the fixed ones, but I think it seems like more people are going for tactical because you can score better. But you have to build your army around that. I think Grey Knights are really prepped for that. There are fewer kill-based secondaries and more, positioning and movement-based secondaries. And I think Grey Knights are really prepped well for that. So.
Yeah, I think the only mistake that I made was misreading that one secondary, and I kind of strung myself out a little too far. But even so, I still capitalized on all the points.
Yeah.
So
as we talked about, you really wouldn't have been able to score that secondary, although it might have changed your positioning. But yeah, and especially Imperial Knights, some of the secondaries are really tough for them, especially the action-based ones. I can't run a 400-point model into a corner to investigate signals and not shoot for a turn.
Not with that attitude.
Rather not, sir.
Not with that attitude. All right, well, Mr. Lane, let's cut this one short. Let everyone get some rest and get us some rest. And come back, hit the drawing board, dust everything off, and come back at this. Awesome game, bud. Awesome.
A lot of fun.
Guys, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.